up, everybody's, and then this one guy comes up and he, pulls me aside, goes me by the back of the neck, let me talk to you. I was like, So he comes and he shakes my hand, he puts his arm around me like this, and he gives me one of those like really long hugs, and I'm just kind of like, am I about to get shanked? What's going on? So he gives me one of those long hugs, and then, and I was wearing shades, we're out in the sun, the whole thing, and so, he's like, just wanted to say thank you. For one day, I didn't feel like I was in prison. And so I start bawling, and I'm crying, like, man, and I just thought, dude, if this whole trip up to Soledad State Prison, 8 hours away, we have to leave a day early because we got to check in at 7 a.m., got to get hotels, we put money into all this thing, and we did all this stuff, feels just for that one person, then amen. Then that's what it was for, Thank you. And even just today, if this is just for one person, amen. And even then, if I can tell this quick story, there was a buddy of mine, back to the guys from POD, my buddy Sonny, he's the singer, and he has this ministry called the Whosoevers. And so he invited me to Hilltop High School over here. They did an event a while back, and it just a trippy story. They got the high school. They bought a ton of pizzas. They brought a skate ramp, and they brought a whole stage, set up the lighting. They invited a band to come up. They had all these guest speakers, some celebrity guys that do the BMX, all kinds of like crazy stuff. They spent all this money, and it was just. I seen the setup. It was just, it's amazing. So they do this event at this high school. The Christian club helped put it together, and they're all excited. They're all pumped up. This is going to be awesome. It's supposed to be after school. The bell rings. Boom. Everybody's leaving. And they're like, hey guys, we're over here. Where are you guys going? We're over here. And they're just all leaving. Everybody's leaving. It's the last day of school. They booked this thing on the last day of school. Nobody's trying to stick around on the last day of school. It was like, man. So they're like, what are we going to do with all this food? What are we going to do? And then they see this one girl, little punk rock girl. She had green streaks in her hair, little punk rock girl, in a wheelchair. And she's one of the last ones to leave. And then she stops. Hey, what are you guys doing? Oh man, we brought all this food, and we got this band, and we're going to do this rock show. We're going to do. And so they encourage her. No, you're not going anywhere. Come on. And they help her. They wheel her to the front. And so they bring her in, and then they did the whole concert, and they did everything that they were going to do. They shared the gospel. They did the whole thing just for her. Wow. One person. So what's crazy is a year later, they go back to Hilltop High School. They do the same thing all over again, and she's the one who brought everybody to come to the event. So it's that kind of stuff, Even if you're doing this stuff, even if it's just for one person, just know that that's what you're called to do. Where's Mama T? Is Mama T still here? She take off. Well, Mama T, she's a super huge encourager for the youth, and she's been encouraging my daughter for a long time. And, I was telling her earlier, I said, hey, you know what? I'll never forget everything that you did for my daughter. But if you do all the stuff that you do, and if it was just to plant those seeds in my daughter's heart, I appreciate you, And that means the most to me, So Barnabas, he had a good name. Like his name was good on the streets, and at one point in Acts 9, 26, 31, you can go back and read it, but when Paul, nobody wanted anything to have to do with Paul after, after his transformation, he's trying to come back, and he's trying to, hey, how can I be down? Can I be part of the crew? And so the disciples were like, nah, dude, you were just killing all of us. Like, I don't want nothing to have to do with you. Like, what? And so, but because of Barnabas was like, no. He's with me. It's all good. I seen what he did. It's all good. And so they're like, you sure? You sure? And so he went and he vouched for him, and because of his good name, because he kept that good name, he was able to still vouch for Paul. And then Paul made the hugest difference in the name of Jesus, right? Amen. So we got to keep that good name sometimes. I want to encourage you guys to keep that good name. And Barnabas didn't have to be the one in charge. That's right. You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, okay, hey Paul, go for it. Yeah. And sometimes when you read through the books of Acts, through the book of Acts, and you're kind of searching to see, you know, Paul and who did what and the people that were helping them and doing all the stuff with it. Sometimes it would say Barnabas and Paul. Yes. And then sometimes it would switch to say Paul and Barnabas. But he was okay with just playing the back role. Yes. And sometimes we need to be okay with just playing the back role. And sometimes we're not meant to be in the front. You know, sometimes we're meant to think about this. I know we all have watched movies. Some of us have watched some really long movies, right? And so you're at the movie theater and you're watching, you know, all the crazy credits, right? But when we're watching the film, we're just seeing the actors. We're seeing the main dudes that are playing the stuff, right? Think about the Avengers. You know, you think of Iron Man, you think of, you know, Black Widow and all, right? But you don't see like, oh, but there's a graphic design guy, there was the effects guy, there was the guy holding the light, there was the guy holding the microphone, and you see the best boy, grip boy. I have no idea what all this, and I've worked in the industry, and some of the stuff I'm like, I don't know what all this is. But without those people, that's right. Come on now. There would be no Avengers. Amen. There would be no, and so we need those people in the back to be doing all that stuff, because without that, there wouldn't be none of this. That's right? Amen. And so, I know we talked about it earlier. And, you know, I was like, funny, man, I brought that up, but with Moses, he had a mentor, his father-in-law, Jethro. And, you know, after he led everybody out of Egypt, everybody's coming to him and saying, hey, but, you know, we have this argument and we're not seeing eye to eye, and everybody's coming to him for all this stuff. And so Jethro's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you have no time to be everybody's, you know, counsel and do like, no. And so his advice was, you need to appoint some leaders. Amen. You need to appoint some leaders, and you need to get some people that can handle those things for you, so that you can do what God has called you to do. But you need that support system. And so by doing this, what you're doing tonight, and allowing the staff to come in, and your son and everybody come in, that's what you're supposed to do, and give other people a shot. Amen. And entrust what God has given you to the next generation, the next ones up. Amen. And you know, we're just talking about our team. I was like, no, you know, it's the stuff that we do. I'm like, this isn't about me. This is about what God's doing here and what we're doing and the impact that we're making in the community. And it's about the team, and it's about you guys. So, you know, I want to empower for you guys to go and make your impact, and you guys grow a team, and you guys do all this stuff. You know, there's times we invite people like, no, just come to TJ with us. Come to TJ with us and see the smiles on the kids' faces, and come see all the stuff that we're doing. You can break off and start your own nonprofit. You don't have to do it with Love Thy Neighbor, but just come and see what we're doing. Yes. That's it. And then you'll break off and you'll do your own thing. But sometimes we let things get in the way. We have excuses. How many of us don't have an excuse for why we shouldn't? Oh, I can't go tonight because I gotta watch that TV show, or I gotta do laundry, or whatever it is, right? The novela that's on, or the game, whatever it is, I don't know. But I know I've had some excuses for sure. And you know, recently, about 2 years ago, I had the district attorney's office approach me about being part of this thing they have. It's called the Regional Leadership Institute, where you get to speak to law enforcement, 36 law enforcement officers from across California every other month, and they put this class on. And so I was like, you want me to do what? Talk to who? What? I was like, no, like I've never been cool with cops. I don't like that whole thing. No. I'm like, we don't talk to cops. What are you talking about? You know? Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. I was like, no. But the reason that they came and they approached us is in 2016, we put together an event. It was a peace gathering that we put together over at Qualcomm Stadium. and we brought law enforcement and the community together. It was a time where there was a lot of hostility, and people were, it's when Officer JD over here got shot, and so as our group, as our community, we were like, no, we got to do something. So we got to call for unity, and we got to love on people. And so we put this huge thing together, and I invited all these guest speakers, and I didn't ask any of the guest speakers to say anything in particular. I was just like, dude, just bring unity, and every speaker that spoke preached the gospel. Yes. And at the end of it, there was even an altar call, yes. And people came to the altar. Yeah, it was amazing. And so right after that, we're like, well, what else can we do to continue bringing unity and to be that, bridge that gap? And so we're like, hey, let's do this coffee with the cop event. And so we did it right here at this church that was right here, right behind us. It was a little coffee shop. Yeah, right. And so we're like, hey, well, let's do this. We'll do our own version of it. So we put this flyer together, and we called up all the local, police stations, and we had a little bit of pushback where they were like, what are you doing? You're doing what? No, we do these events. And I was like, well, this time we're doing one, and you're invited. But if you don't want to come, I get it. But we had San Diego PD, Chula Vista PD, National City PD, all kinds of people that showed up, and it was so cool that we did. I think it was from like 6:30 to 8:30, something like that, and it's 10:30, and we're telling the cops like, you guys gotta go, like, dude, what are you still doing here? We had to kick them out, like, dude, it was fun, but you guys gotta go. But that's how cool it was, and I keep saying this, but I'm like, man, at some point we're gonna have to do tacos with the cop. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. Oh, man, let's get some tacos with the cop. Let's do that next. But so the DA's office sent someone to come to our coffee with the cop event, and then come talk to me and ask me about like doing this thing, and I was like, hey, I don't know about that. Like, what do I have to say? I'm a high school dropout. I have no education in any of this. I'm from Tijuana. And so I had all these excuses. Like Moses saying, but I don't speak so well, right? And so I'm sitting here like, can you send someone else? And so I want to say like maybe 6 times I told them, no, I can't do it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And so they came to our office and said, hey, Ruben, we need to sit down. Just give me a minute. And they talked me into it. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna give this a shot. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know. And so I put this presentation together at first, and it was a really like harsh presentation. Like, you cops need to do. And I was like, man, this is a little harsh. Where's the love, So I had to go back and just rearrange it all and just do it in love, And so I'm going on, I think, 3 years of helping the district attorney's office. Oh, thank you. And I just say that to say that many of us, we have these excuses on why we shouldn't, right? And I did the same thing, and I still do the same stuff, but don't be discouraged. Like, God will use a high school dropout, not born in the U.S., dyslexic, former dope trafficker, whatever it might be, to do some incredible, awesome stuff and help change some lives, And the foolish, God will use the foolish. And remember, sometimes like just use what you have. I have no talent. I'll say I have no talent, but I'm using what I have and my resources and my influence and the love that God gave me to love others, And so, some of us are talented in other ways that some of us aren't. Right. But just remember, use that. God used Moses' staff to part the Red Sea, right? He hit a stone and water came out of it. Think of that. He used what he had. He didn't have money. Boom, water came out. So you use what you got, and some of us say, I don't got money, I don't got that. Let me tell you, I'm one of the brokest guys you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got money, but God's using it because why? You're making yourself available. And if you make yourself available, God's going to use you. And And just knowing some people can surround themselves with other people and come to pastor and say, hey, what can I do for you? What do you need done? Or Abraham, hey, what do you need for this Sunday? But just know that there's more than this church. There's more than these four walls. Go out and do something in the community. Go out and do something and love on people. Because how are people going to know that you're a Christian, that you're a follower? Is by the love that you have for one another. That's right. So I'm not a big preacher. I don't go out on the streets and preach. But I just go and love on people. Hey man, this is what we're doing. Here's some food. Here's some clothes. Here's some whatever. But you need that support system. You need that team. Like when you think of Moses, that team that he had, anybody ever hear the name Hur in the Bible?